Good evening everyone, this is the Great Pumpkin speaking and welcome to this new stream of Final Fantasy XIV. So this time we're actually gonna be continuing on the main quest and join one of Eorzea's Grand Companies. We'll also be trying to go into one of the game's optional dungeon, being Halatali, if we have time. So anyhow, here's Minfilia, so let's have a talk with her. A hero in the making. Minfilia is wearing a wry smile. Might it have something to do with your newfound fame? Yeah, we did slay a primal, all by our lonesome. And 3 other guys, but still. Until not so very long ago, you were but one of many adventurers seeking to make their way in Eorzea. But for your character and courage, you were raised to the esteemed post of envoy. Thereafter, you traveled around, aiding those in need without thought of reward, confirming to Tancred that the Scions would benefit from your aid. And no sooner had you joined us that you personally bested the primal Ifrit. You have achieved a great deal in a short time, and won fame in doing so. Alas, fame does not come without price, as you will soon discover. We have guests, Kukumo, or rather, you have guests. Beg pardons. Now, don't rush. Lady Minfilia, radiant as always. I am given to understand that the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have but recently welcomed a new hero in their midst. I am here on behalf of the Maelstrom, Grand Company of Eorzea, to offer said hero a place of honor within our ranks. Well played, you've gotten ahead of the 2 others. As you can see, Kukumo, your recent exploits have garnered you the attentions of the Grand Companies of Eorzea. Each organization will have Ifrit's Bane for its own. To this end, all 3 have sent officers to court you. They would not ordinarily go to such lengths to enlist a new recruit. That they have is evidence of their high regard for you. I find myself wondering how word of Kukumo's deed spread so quickly that the immortal flames should know of his triumph is to be expected, but what of the other Grand Companies? Eep! Oh, you silly. Your reputation precedes you, Master Lalakumo. 'Tis no ordinary man who can face a primal and emerge the victor. The Order of the Twin Adder has need of a valiant man such as you. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us ensure that peace ever reigns over the Twelveswood. What pleasure it is to finally meet you, Master Lalakumo. My comrades speak of you in the most glowing terms. Why, even before you aided us against the Amalja and their dread primal, yours was already a respected name in Ul'dah. Our people know you and love you well. A man of your talent belong with the immortal flames. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us secure a prosperous future for Ul'dah. The Admiral was not exaggerating when she said you have the look of a hero. Full often does she speak of you, friend. The look of a hero, huh? I'm a Lalafell and they're both Rogaden. That's unlikely. It is only natural that we should want you for the Maelstrom. Join your strength to ours, and together let us see the grand vessel of Limsalominsa to the shores of glory. Well, that's not easy. Lady Minfilia? Very well. Though I'm quite sure you need no reminding, mayhap a brief summary of the situation will help clarify your thoughts on this matter. As you know, the Grand Companies are all-encompassing organizations, empowered to call upon the martial, economic, and technological resources of their respective city-states in times of strife. These are presently 3 such organizations in Eorzea: the Maelstrom of Limsalominsa, the Order of the Twin Adder of Gridania, and the Immortal Flames of Ul'dah. Serving a Grand Company means serving the nation to which it belongs. You will be charged with its defense, and tasking it with advancing its cause. In return for your faithful service, you will be furnished with various rewards, some of which may well prove useful to you in your other endeavors. If you are agonizing over which of the Grand Companies best deserves your loyalty, be at ease. The commitment you make this day need not be permanent. Should you wish to shift your allegiance at a later date, you are entitled to do so, and yet I can see that it is no small choice you face. Ah, a thought occurs to me. You will, of course, recall that the 3 city-states are planning to hold remembrance services. Well, as part of the proceedings, I am given to understand that the leader of each Grand Company will deliver an address. The fact that she's looking down on me is actually a nice touch. Oh well. Hearing these addresses ought to help you make an informed decision. What say you, my dear officers? Fine suggestion. You are as wise as you are beautiful, my lady. Well, ain't he bold? Very well, let Kukumo hear our leader speak, then he'll return here with his decision. We eagerly await your answer. You can see that the salutes for the various companies are actually quite different, and we'll earn some of them as emotes. I know full well that adventurers are by their nature a liberty-loving breed, and not best suited to the discipline of military service, but I strongly urge you to join a Grand Company nonetheless. While the promise of reward is enticing in itself, it is not the only benefit. You are possessed of great power, Kukumo, and with it you are capable of doing untold good. Yet know that great power is wont to attract attention, not all of it friendly. There will be those who wish you ill, and you must needs be on the lookout for them. Yet, however vigilant you are but one man. In the midst of a Grand Company, however, you will be one man amongst many, a friend among friends, your achievements will be shared, and so will the danger. I can think of no better arrangement. Of course, joining one organization needs not mean leaving another. I hope that we can continue to rely upon your aid. The Twelves know that we will have need of it in the days ahead. The Grand Companies seek to protect their own nations. We Scions, on the other hand, seek to preserve the future of Eorzea as a whole, similar, yet not quite the same. Now then, I expect that you will be afield more often in the future. As such, I would have you carry this link pearl with you at all time. It will allow us to stay in touch regardless of location. Don't do it! You bloody fool. Eorzea is changing, Kukumo, and you have the power to help shape it anew. None can say what tomorrow will bring, but so long as we believe in ourselves, there is naught we cannot achieve. Now it is time you made ready for your journey. Before you depart, be sure to speak to Titaru. She will apprise you as to where and when the remembrance services are due to take place. So basically we'll see a bit of a repeat of what we saw earlier with the Calamity recap. Namely that each of the leaders are going to do their pitch for their nation as well as their Grand Companies. You'll also notice that you will be allowed to join any company regardless of which nation you've actually quested in earlier. So starting in Ul'dah doesn't necessarily mean you're bound to go with the Immortal Flames. But be that as it may. Servant Officer. The Elder Seatsier speaks only truth, and her words have the power to touch the soul. At the sound of her voice, all fall silent and attend her. Flame Officer. The Flame General is a passionate man, and his words never fail to light fire in the belly of those who listen. I am sure you will be no exception. When the Admiral speaks, even pirates listen, and this is no small thing. She is a born leader, the kind one would gladly follow to the 7th hell. Ah, that's a nice endorsement, at least for their leader. Can't help having my eyes drawn to that sword I caught a while ago. That's actually a really neat one. One also used by Imeric, who is the current leader of Ishgard's city-state, or rather, not at this point in time. But that's kind of a spoiler now, is it? Meh. Me and my big mouth. Well, well. So there's Titaru. I'm sorry about all the attention you're getting, Kukumo. I might have sung your praises a little too loudly, and often. To a few too many people. Next time, I'll be sure to hold my tongue. Literally, if necessary. Anyway, I expect you to want to know where and when the remembrance services are taking place. If all goes to plan, Gridania's Grand Company, the Order of the Twin Adder, will hold the first of their 3 services, and Elder Seedseer Connie Senna will deliver her address at Miketo Amphitheater. I should probably mention at this point that due to the organizational challenges involved in assembling all of the involved parties, it's possible that the order of the services might change. Still, there's not much we can do about that, so make Gridania your first port of call. Next, you'll need to go to Ul'dah, where Flame General Rabban Aldin will be addressing the masses at the Royal Promenade. Oh, and it's rumored that there's to be a special guest. How exciting! Last but not least, you must make your way to the stateroom in Limsa Lominsa, where Maelstrom Chief Admiral Merlwyb Bloifswin will be giving her address. The room is accessible via the Admiral's lift. Identify yourself to the sentry, Santael, and he will admit you. Got all that? Well, off you go then. I hope you find the remembrance services suitably educational. I suggest visiting the city-states in my prescribed order. Though with your record of impeccable timing and luck, the schedule may well change in favor of your preferred travel plans. Farewell. So basically, you can go to whichever one you want, which he had stressed pretty much the whole time. So anyway, we've got to speak to Nedric Ironheart, if I'm not mistaken. Hello, Halatali. Nedric of the Scions of the Seven Dawn has some useful information he wishes to share. Hail there, adventurer! I'm Nedric Ironheart, an explorer by trade and a scion by allegiance, and you, my friend, look to me an adventurer in need of a challenge. I happen to know just the place that will offer it to you. Tucked away in a corner of eastern townland lies Halatali, and it is there that you will find all the excitement you crave. The place boasts a storied history. It was built some 100 years past as a training ground for gladiators. Calamity laid ruin to it though, as it did but to most things. Now Halatali is a shadow of its former self, but in the dark of that shadow lurks wild beasts, both bloodthirsty and beyond count. For one such as yourself, I dare say there's no place finer than Halatali to test your skill and refine your technique. Indeed, I've taken the liberty of passing your name along to the flames who oversee the place. Should you visit, speak with one Fafajoni near the entryway. And this is our breadcrumb, which will lead us to Halatali once the time is right. But first, let's follow the order that Titaru gave us, so we'll be going to Gridania. Mikote dancers again. Seems like some Mikotes have trouble finding proper employment, or maybe they just like dancing. Anywho, off to the Miketo Amphitheater, which I've already unlocked. How convenient! The fact that the quest for Halatali was actually near the Waking Sands was kind of the reason I started with the Grand Companies anyway. Here you will also see the various quests for the current event for... what was the name? Well, the Easter event, anyway. With its signature music. At least they're not gonna play it during the service.
I lost my son to the calamity.
The 3 Seedseers are all together.
Some say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body.
And there's Connie.
Our forebears were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the Green Wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals, and were granted a place beneath the boughs. So it was that Gridania was born, some 5 centuries ago. Working hand in hand, the Hyur and the Elysian settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization, and soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity, and blessed by the light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today.
You'll notice to the right of Connie being Arun, and a little further being hidden by this guy's sleeve is Raya O, who are also Pajal.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the Elder Seedseer.
There they are. Took them long enough.
The entwined serpents represent the unity between Hjur and Ellison. An elegant symbol, do you not agree?
In accordance with the will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace. Alas, our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life. Ever have we fought to protect the sanctity of the Twelveswood. When the Garlean Empire brought its war of conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin Adder that we might push back the encroaching darkness.
Over here's brother Esumian, the guildmaster for the Conjurers Guild, also a Pajal.
And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat. "5 years ago, the Alliance met the armies of the Empire upon the fields of Cartano. It would prove the bloodiest battle in recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the calamity. The scars borne by our forest are a constant reminder of its violence. Our lives have been irrevocably changed. Each waking hour, a struggle to survive. Driven to desperation, some among us have strayed from the path of righteousness, resorting to banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound our woes, the Ixal have returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test our defenses nigh without cease, and prey upon the vulnerable. So beleaguered from within and without, it is of little wonder that our unity now falters. Dark times are upon us.
Time was a man could walk
pox
the
on the
high
bloody
roads without
Ixal.
fear.
On this day, 5 years ago, countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
And how do you propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
The destruction wrought by the calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike. Yet while we have labored to rebuild our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has set about raising steel fortresses here in the Twelveswood. Let none be mistaken. The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are to stand against them, we must remember what it is to be united. Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our fellow man. Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you, join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder's standard. And together, let us heal the forest's wounds, that our progeny might live in harmony beneath these ancient boughs. For serenity, purity, and sanctity. We must think of the children!
Woods will be done.
It's up to us to protect the
All
forest.
the elementals! If you'll permit me, Alfino.
Ah, there's the first appearance of Alfino there.
And my sister, Alize, at your service. I saw at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
It's been quite a long time since I heard Alfino's original voice, and I maintain it was much better than it is now. But anywho, that was a different time. But anyway, Kane actually gave us quite a good overview of what's going on in Gridania proper. Honestly, I think she's one of the least interesting head of the city-states. What with her having that kind of mystical thing going on. I don't know. The first character I made was actually in the Immortal Flames, whereas when I actually did Ardarine at the start, I actually joined the Order of the Twin Adders, then changed my mind and went back to the Flames. So, you know. But anywho, also the fact that she's a little robotic doesn't do much to stoke your spirit, now does it? The Gridanians are unfortunate enough to have to contend with two beast tribes. The Ixal are unquestionably the more troublesome, being of a naturally warlike disposition, and won't summon their bloodthirsty primal, Garuda. The Sylphs, by contrast, are peaceful in nature, being mischievous rather than malevolent, and have long been on friendly terms with the Gridanians, until recently at least. Alas, they have grown aloof, a change observed at roughly the time they summoned the primal Ramu. Gridanians have no love for war, and they consider open conflict the last resort. Though they clash with the Ixal ever more regularly, you may be assured that they do so in self-defense. As for the Sylphs, they are yet bound by a peace treaty, though one wonders how long it will be before it is broken. The Twelveswood was grievously wounded during the calamity, leaving Gridania vulnerable to attack. The people are hopeful that restoring the wood, and thereby the power of the elementals, will put an end to their woes, yet how long will that take? Centuries, I'd wager. Meanwhile, the Ixal would continue their incursions, spurred on by Garuda and her insatiable appetite for destruction. Whether the Gridanians like it or not, sooner or later, it will come to all-out war, and when it does, the Order of the Twin Adder will need all the help it can muster. Sorry. How valuable might the aid of a capable adventurer prove to them, then? He does love hearing himself speak. Alize is a bit on the quiet side, at least for now. Actually, it took quite a while for her to actually get involved in the storyline proper. She was more involved in things relating to the calamity, which we may hear a little about at a later date. Unfortunately, I've never actually finished it completely. But anywho, Connie gave us an overview of what she thought of her nation, whereas Alfino and Alize actually gave us an overview of the least, how can I say, shining points of said nation. Which is necessary to make proper choice, if you ask me. Anywho, so back to Ulda. Yeah, that papaya song. It's actually kinda infectious. Well, anywho, so the Royal Promenade would be somewhere close to the Weaver's Guild. That seems right. Could also be on the second floor. Yeah, it's on the hustling strip. So going to the Chamber of Rule would actually make sense. Gotta hurry though if we want to get Halatali done. But either way, let's let them make their speech. That's the important part. And here we are. Time for Robin to make his sell.
Behold, 'tis the Sultana Nanimo herself!
And Roban as well.
Quite a surprise, eh?
Hark you, souls of flame, drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore. Hurrah! Rauban! Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ul dynasty, we have wrought sand into gold. Where by the grace and glory of Naldal have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Ul'dah!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
Great and many are the gifts our nation has given the realm. In Eorzea's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return. Let us pray for our absent brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as Thal's honored guests. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas, they are not. And now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden and enthralled. Where are the merciful alms of the rich? Where is the just steel of the righteous? I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save? You who call this living, dishonor the name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death. Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade. Meanwhile, the Garleans make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth. We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Ul'dah stands to fall. Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond. Now is the time to unite. Now is the time to ride forth. In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you, line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Ul'dah, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Ul'dah. As Ul'dah prospers, so shall her people.
Ya for Ul'dah!
Together we are one.
Your Grace.
Rauban?
Oh, that's adorable.
People of Ul'dah, I, Nanimo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you.
Much has been made of the wealth of Ul'dah. Yet those who measured that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived. For the true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people. Beloved subjects, I bid you raise aloft the torch of Ul'dah, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzea to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
For victory and fortune, stride fearless into the Inferno, for we are, by fire, reborn! Forsooth?
The time is now! I
Fancy meeting you again.
Oh yep, quite a sale on Raban's part. Rather inappropriate given the fact that this is a remembrance service, but nonetheless, you can't fault the guy for trying. The Uldans have a long history of conflict with the Mulja, the beast tribe that worships the primal Ifrit. Judging by your look of distaste, I take it you have encountered them. The Uldans do not shy from confrontation. If aught threatens their precious prosperity, they will seek to crush it. So have they dealt with Ifrit thus far, smothering his flames each time he is stoked to life. Yet he is but one of several problems. Though they have been quiet these past 5 years, the Guardians have not gone away. Meanwhile, refugees continue to arrive in droves, and Ul'dah has no clear policy on how to deal with them. After all, not even the Sultanate's coffers are bottomless, and even assuming they had the coin, resources will ever be finite. Which brings me back to the subject of Ifrit. It has been observed that the Mulja are summoning him with ever-increasing frequency. Every time they do so, the Uldans send their forces to smite the Primal, and though they invariably succeed, each victory is bought with blood. It is a war of attrition which they cannot well sustain. Small wonder then, that Immortal Flames are eager to recruit more members. At such desperate hour, an adventurer of your experience will be a most welcome addition to their ranks. For their sake, I hope that the Flame General's words struck a chord with you. Always so pouty. Oh well, suppose that's part of her charm. Sometimes it's difficult to... How can I say? They look so much alike with the same outfits, it's tough to remember at times that she and Alfino aren't quite of the same sex, so... You know. The fact I mentioned that actually sounded really creepy. Oh well, never mind that. As always, the ever-lovely night music of Ul'dah. The Sultana dreaming, as they call it. Now back to Limsa, our last one. Wow, that is one buff warrior. Whoa. I suppose the AF castle is about as close as I'm gonna guess. It's actually close to the headquarters of the Maelstrom, as it turns out. But that is besides the point. Here we are. To Bulwark Hall. Was that the one actually? Oh, okay. Guy is on the other side. That makes sense. There's Zantile. Here to attend the remembrance service. Be quick, the Admiral is due to give her address at any moment.
The Garleans are another matter altogether.
So much for our alliance.
It's sunk beyond the seabed.
Brothers and sisters of the sea, hearken unto me. Look upon this, our mighty crimson standard, and tell me your hearts do not swell with pride. "700 summers have come and gone since our forefathers first ran aground in this fertile bay. In that time, guided by the Mother of Oceans, Limsa Lominsa has grown from humble fishing village to uncontested ruler of the 5 seas and beyond."
Did you look as the Admiral bid you? It is a rather stirring standard, I must say. The crimson field is meant to signify the blood of fallen crewmates, while the black longship represents a pirate vessel.
Obviously, you can hear it in the voice of the inhabitants and in pretty much everything to do with Limsa.
When the Garlean Empire marched upon Eorzea, we assembled beneath the Maelstrom standard, and our Grand Company was reborn. All answered the call, from the Knights of the Barracuda to Hilfir's bloody executioners. And together, we met our would-be conquerors upon the field of Cartano. That day, the world bore witness to the united strength of Limsa Lominsa. I swear to you, no army ever fought harder or with more courage, yet many of ours did not survive. Join me now in remembering those who fought in the name of freedom and fell. May their souls be returned to the sea.
Freedom. Yes, they have always been rather fond of their freedom. Much as the beast tribes have. Small wonder. Beneath the surface, one would struggle to tell them apart.
Ooh, sick burn, Alphino.
It has been 5 long years since the calamity struck. 5 long years of tireless rebuilding. Yet still the wounds of the calamity fester and weep. But when I stand atop the mizzenmast and gaze out upon our battered and broken vessel, I see an undying spirit. Did we not build all this from the wreck of the Galadian all those centuries ago? Shall we not do so again? Yet there are those who would see this ship of ours sink beneath the waves of the restless Rotano. The Sahagin creep ashore seeking blood for their accursed god.
Those fishback
The Sahagin have risen?
While the mines of Ogomoro spew forth kobolds who push ever south, despoiling our lands as they go. These savage beast tribes will be the first waves to crash against our creaking hull. And behind them swells the grim tide of the Garlean Empire. Even now the curs fly their flags within our borders. Doubt not, but that they will be upon us ere long. We are well nigh surrounded. Yet there are those among us who would rather turn their swords against their crewmates than our cannons against our foes. How can we hope to repel our many enemies when mutiny breeds below deck? There is but one course left to us. One bearing that will bring us victory over the beast hordes and the Empire both, and see this ship safe to port. We must mend the rift the calamity has reopened twixt pirate and maelstrom, and stand fast with our adventurer brothers against the coming tempest. Mark ye well, a crew without unity is no crew at all. 'Tis but a mass of drowned men. To me, then, brothers and sisters of the sea, gather beneath the undying crimson standard, and pledge me your strength, your skill, your wisdom. And with the guidance of the navigator, this great vessel of ours shall ride the waves, till sea swallows all!
Long live the Admiral!
Admiral Melvin!
Gather the lads!
Oh, where's me cutlass? I'll follow ye to the seven hells, Admiral!
Saw a quick look of her second-in-commands there.
Fancy meeting you again.
She did a rather good job at it. Not quite as much as Raban, but still. That's a really great sell, aside from the nautical metaphors. She's not wrong either. Limsa has a lot of problem 2 beast tribes to contend with, as well as quite a problem of rebellion with the pirates refusing to bow to her authority, given that Merlwyb has actually seized control of every vessel within Lominsan water, and that doesn't sit right with them. In a sense, Limsa feels sort as a frontier nation. The problems plaguing them don't quite seem the same as they are within the other city-states, whereas Gridania is more isolationist, and Ul'dah has its problems, I suppose, namely the difference in riches between the various classes. Well, you can see how things go from there. As the Admiral mentioned in her address, Limsa is plagued by 2 beast tribes. The first are the fish-like Sahagin, worshippers of the primal Leviathan. The seconds are the kobolds, who dwell beneath the earth and take the primal Titan for their god. As if the beast tribe's presence were troublesome enough, the Guardians have also chosen to erect a fortress right in the Lominsan's backyard, and yet nothing really ever came of it. I remember Gridania having trouble what with Belsar's wall close by and whatnot. Ul'dah has also had a few problems with them as well in certain areas, but strangely enough, not a lot going on in Limsa. Meh. And that is to say naught of internal strife. As a nation of pirates, there is no end to the blood feud between the various factions, and while they fight amongst themselves, the Guardians whet their blades and watch. If the Lominsan are to have any hope of withstanding the Empire, they must first resolve their own affairs, differences must be set aside, and the primal threat dealt with once and for all. To this end, I expect that they will soon take decisive action against the beast tribes. Mark my words, the Maelstrom standard will be drenched a deeper shade of crimson ere long. That a capable adventurer like you would be a valuable addition to the crew is beyond question. Still grumpy. Alphino's looking rather glib at that. Oh well. Ah, there we go. Minfilia. Kukumo, this is Minfilia. You're well, I hope. Would I be correct in thinking that the final remembrance service has now concluded? A moment ago, you say? What a coincidence! Jesting aside, I trust you remember our guests from the Grand Companies. Well, delighted though we are to have them here at the Waking Sands, it would not do to keep them in suspense any longer than necessary. In short, hurry back. If I must. Having to do the trek to Horizon is really annoying. Oh well. Let's spend those tickets while we can. Oh yeah. I got quite a few things here that I got from the mail with my veteran rewards. Among others of note are these Cascadier uniform vouchers. That's those reserved for basically swimsuits, if that's your kind of thing. I'm not even sure I actually turned in my own, which actually explains that that Hot Springs thing with Rain still being in her white mage dress. Oh wow. I'm completely going to the wrong place. As you can see, my confusion earlier is gonna keep going into this, yet for some reason I'm not bungling the dialogue quite as much as I usually do. Miracles do happen. Huh. It's been a while since I've seen a guild seller as well as somebody apparently who sells Eureka level gear. Huh. Well, if I were you, I wouldn't deal with those kinds of people. It might be a business, but that's not right. I do remember people who actually sold character. I've met a few of them, and they're rather protective of their livelihoods. The smallest thing will actually make them jump ship from games. Because, you know, when you touch the purse, well, people are gonna get a little grumpy, if you will. But that's life. If I'm not mistaken, that mount that we just saw now is actually the mount for Garuda. It's been quite a while since I've seen it, actually. But anywho, it is now time for us to make our choice. And I will explain my reasoning once we get to Minfilia. And off we go. Turns out they removed the guards there, so now we can go to her whenever we want. How convenient. Guess they give us the key or whatnot. Welcome back, Kukumo. Were the Grand Company leader's words as illuminating as you had hoped? Aye, each nation is beset with problems. I trust you see now why your services are in such demand. Would that there were more of you, Kukumo. But you must be tired from your journey. Why don't you rest a while, and take a moment to reflect on your decision? Once your mind is made up, pray give the Grand Company officers your answer. If I must. What now?
The gods only know what Grand Company our adventurer friend will keep. The wheels of change are in motion regardless.
Brother, are you certain this course is best?
Whatever do you mean, dear sister?
The so-called remembrance ceremonies were little more than standard waving rallies.
She's not wrong.
As though the Calamity and Seventh Umbral Era warranted scarcely a mention.
I didn't remember Alize's voice, but that's fairly terrible. Oh my.
Well, of course they were standard waving rallies. Since you are so observant, mayhap you noticed what mention was made of the Warriors of Light? None. I suppose they must have forgotten the heroes who spared Eorzea a fate worse than the Calamity? No, dear Alize, they haven't forgotten these details. They have elected to omit them. Deep are the wounds the Calamity inflicted upon Eorzea. So deep, in fact, that the realm still bleeds. Needless to say, the beast tribes and their primals do little to alleviate the pain. So, the task of salving Eorzea's wounds falls to the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, with a little help from our friends, the Grand Companies. Remembrance will yield no remedy. If our world is to heal, we must put the horrors of the Calamity behind us.
Our grandfather would never entrust the fate of the realm to despots who rewrite history to their convenience. There must be another way to cure what ails this world, and I mean to find it.
You are most welcome to try. Our paths may differ, but our destination is the same. In time, I dare say we will see eye to eye.
I should hope so.
Quite glib, aren't they?
My lady! We are to escort you!
Hope does not come into it. We share the burden of this fate, dear sister, and will prevail together or not at all. The salve will serve not only to close up our present wounds, but prevent old ones from opening anew.
Well, that's taken care of, and here's another level up. And we've learned Anticipation, a new skill. Ah, nice. If I recall what it does, I'm probably gonna need it. Anywho, so we can speak to whoever we want, basically, and choose our Grand Company at our leisure. Ah, I take it the Elder Seer's words have touched your heart. Have you resolved to entwine your destiny with that of the Twin Adders? I'm afraid not. I've been with them before. Wasn't impressed. Although they have an interesting mount, if you aren't interested at having horns or particularly metallic armor on your chocobo, then they can be interesting. It's got something of a plumed hat going. Ah, forgive me. In my eagerness to embrace you as a brother, I mistook your intention. Welcome back, adventurer. I take it to General Robin's words kindled a fire within you. Not quite. What? You cannot seriously be considering joining another Grand Company? Why? They are not nearly as grand as ours. Yeah, but the thing is, I've been with the Immortal Flames twice, so that wouldn't be right. They've got quite a nice chocobo barding as well. It's quite plated with gold, among others. Quite fitting. And also rather impressive. And there's our destination, the Maelstrom. How was the Admiral's speech? Ah, but you need not explain. That you stand before me now is answer enough. You have resolved to join the Maelstrom, have you not? Let's say no. Well, I dare say you have your reasons, but mark me, in stormy seas, the strength of arm and stout of heart must pull together, or the vessel will flounder. And when the ship goes down, the passengers always share the fate of the crew. Remember that. Well, you've got my vote. That's the spirit, lad. With allies like you, how much stronger is our crew? Let us brave the seas together, friend. And the Luminson also have a very interesting chocobo barding. Their last ones is actually mainly metallic, and has also quite a nice lightning bolt shaped horn, if I recall. Quite nice. Now the choice is made. It is time to add your name to our rolls. Make your way to Limsa Lominsa and seek out our Grand Company's headquarters. Company Keep, Maelstrom. The Maelstrom recruitment officer seems eager to welcome you to Limsa Lominsa's Grand Company. Maelstrom Command is located on the upper decks. I will send word to our personnel officer to expect you. The duties of a Maelstrom soldier can be both arduous and challenging, but I promise you, you will not regret this choice. May your passage be swift and your bearings sure. In truth, whichever company you choose won't have much bearing. There are some rewards that we'll talk about later that differs, the chocobo barding of course, as well as... how can I say, some of the hunting logs that we'll have to do for the company, but that's something else entirely. So anyway, let's go and meet our commanding officer, shall we? And you can also, of course, change Grand Company whenever you want. I think there's some kind of limit on it. I think you can only switch every 2 weeks or something. But then again, once you've invested in a particular company, gotten up in rank, well, there's not much point in switching. Unless you really don't like yours. Or want a particular weapon or set of equipment, be that as it may. But anywho, off to the F Castle, which will lead us there. And here we are, the Maelstrom's headquarters. Along with the ever-lovely Storm Commander, Reshat Riki, who is also a mean player of Triple Triad if you are looking for the Leviathan card. But anywho, that's beside the point. Storm Personnel Officer. Hail, adventurer, what business have you at Maelstrom Command? My name is Kukumo Lalakumo. I believe you're expecting me. Kukumo Lalakumo! Aye, our recruitment officer sent word of your coming. It shall be my honor to induct you into the ranks of the Maelstrom. Now, before I can accept your oath, you must be made aware of several... Sir! What is it, Private? And this had better be important. Sir, we've received a report from a lookout in Lower Lanosse, sir. Imperial forces have fired upon a Highwind Skyway airship. The vessel is in a bad way, sir, and appears to be banking for an emergency landing in Cedarwood. Cedarwood? Damn it, we have no troops in that area. The bulk of our infantry is bogged down on the coast, skirmishing with the fishbacks. Lalakumo, this is highly irregular, but I fear your first duty in service is to the Maelstrom must needs be unofficial. If our man in Lower Lanasi is correct, the airship will come down in territory crawling with Imperial scouts. If there are any survivors, we must reach them before the Garleans do. Make haste to Cedarwood, locate the airship, and if any of its occupants are alive, make sure they come to no further harm. We'll see about swearing you in upon your return. If we must, although the quest will be basically the same, although in different locations regardless of the one you take. So Cedarwood, let me remember where this is. From Lower Lanasi, which would be from one of those gates. Okay. This is going a little longer than expected, but maybe we're still okay for Halatali. So we'll be going from the Tempest Gate. And here we are. The fields of Lanasi, with which you'll already be intimately familiar if you've actually started in Limsa Lominsa, which I didn't. But anyway, I've done pretty much every quest in this particular game that I could find anyway, so I know most of the places by heart, really. Oh, now then. It's all the way up here. Might also be... Oh no, it's just a Chocobo Keep. Was hoping there might be an Aetheryte around there. You know, two birds with one stone, but apparently not. You've also noticed some of the specifics of the locals of the various nations. You see quite a few Mikotes at most places, although Limsa Lominsa is mostly populated by Heers and Seawolf Rogadin. As I've mentioned before, the same can be said for Ul'dah, where you see mostly Ladafel and Heers, a couple Rogadins from the Hellsguard subrace as well. Whereas for Gridania, you see mostly Elizons of both types, if I'm not mistaken, as well as quite a few Heers. It is also the home of the Mikote's, what was it? Keepers of the Moon, that's right. Mikotes have this special thing going on, whereas the Seekers of the Sun are mostly patriarchal with the nun leading the tribe, whereas the Keepers of the Moon are actually matriarchal, with the women calling the shots. So, you know, they like their symmetry. There are some dodos. Some of the laughingstocks in this game in terms of enemies, such as they are, and it seems we've found our fallen airship. There we are. And apparently there's an instance battle. Wonderful. Airship crewman. Let's go. Ooh, Garlean soldiers. Or probably conscripts at any rate. Whoopsie. Ha. Just a fat bird. An adventurer? What are you doing out here? No, wait. Let's find some cover first. Airship crewman. Maelstrom Command sent you? How do I know you're not an Imperial spy? You don't even have a uniform! That'll help. Be at ease, sir. We are one of the Maelstrom. You're a Garland Ironworks engineer, yes? One of the lookouts reported the attack on your craft. We're here to rescue you, Storm Lieutenant. You must be Lala Kumo. Good work on reaching our friend here before the Imperials. Well, I hope that will satisfy. I've never seen a craft of this design. It must be Garland's work. Is there no end to the man's treachery, Imperial soldier? The secrets of Magitech belongs in Imperial hands. They are not to be squandered on Eorzean savages. Oh my. Seems we've got a troll there. We are taking this craft back to the fortress. Dismantle it if you must. And bring the engineer. Someone must pay for Garland's crimes. Scouting party from Castrum Occidens, I'd say. Seems they want your ship, engineer. Wedge, you have to help him. That fool of a Ladafel was hiding inside the tiny Bronco. The tiny Bronco? Isn't that the new design people have been whispering about? It's the first airship we've built since the Calamity. The first since Master Garland, well, since he went missing. After years of work, she was finally ready for her first test flight. And she was soaring, she really was, till those bastards blasted her out of the sky. Alright, pay attention. We're going to hit these Imperials hard and fast. If they want a souvenir from Eorzea, they can have a knife in the gut. And they're not getting that ship. Oh, but they're not getting that ship. Oh, and don't forget to save the Ladafel. But yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's optional, right? What you say, you Lalakumo? Ready to give those curs a hiding? What? Like a tidal wave, lads. Charge! Hey, wait for me. Not gonna help us, huh? Okay, then. An ambush! To arms! As much as I'd love tanking those guys, I feel like the Storm Marauder there is probably more qualified about it than I am. So let's deal with the archers, shall we? Keep them away from the airship. Don't need to tell me twice. So we've got the Imperial Funditor and Imperial Bestiarius. Been quite a while I've seen that, but we've got an Imaginifier. The funny thing is that the Garleans actually aren't able to manipulate either, which that mage right there is doing. That is because those guys are actually probably conscripts from other provinces. Interesting stuff. We've also got the Decurion, so basically a guy leading 10 people apparently. Also being able to do some healing, apparently. Savages, you cannot stand against the might of the Empire. Oh, but we are. This has gone long enough. Seeing other targets. All the way from here. Whoa. We've got a giant mech. We'll be fine. Just take down the archers, and everything will go peachy. Guy's nearly dead, might as well. Rather tanky, I gotta say. This is some of the more, shall we say, steampunk design of Imperial Magitech. They've got some more impressive ones coming down the pipeline, though. For a second there, I thought we had reinforcements. And hopefully once that thing is done, we can check about going to Halatali. If anything, at this point, Gladiator's rotation is actually fairly simple. Not a whole lot for us to do, but it's gonna get better. We're near level 25, which is for our next class quest, which should reward us with something interesting. Probably the third move of our Enmity combo. And here we are. Pigs! So that is pretty much confirmed. We've got Biggs and Wedge here being a staple of the series since at least Final Fantasy VI, whether they've reconned it or not. So yeah, pretty much every Final Fantasy game needs to have a Biggs and Wedge, a reference to Star Wars, of course. Wedge, you shouldn't have stayed with the ship. That was a close one. Too damn close. So, how's she look anyway? The auxiliary propeller is a dead loss, but I think we can wring enough thrust from the main propeller to get us airborne. A few minor modifications and we should be able to fly the tiny Bronco home. We'll stand watch until the ship is ready to take off. The Imperials will come looking for their scouts eventually, but I doubt they'll get here for a good while yet. Lala Kumo, you're free to return to Maelstrom Command and complete your induction. Ordinarily, I'd ask you to stay, but I think we'd all feel better knowing an adventurer of your ability was safely sworn in and ready for the next mission. Rest assured, I'll inform Command of the part you played today. I just wanted to say sorry, you know, for calling you an Imperial spy and all that. Got that one wrong, didn't I? Seriously, though, if I hadn't been for you and the Maelstrom lads there, we'd be chained up in a dungeon by now. I mean, you're that friend. We both are. Wedge. Thank you. We're very grateful. That little troll haircut of him. I'm of course referencing the toys, not the actual trolls. Be they people or mythical creatures, as it is. Of course, I am reminded of something. Back in the another MMO known as City of Heroes, there was actually a gang called the Trolls, which were actually a gang addicted with a particular drug that granted them super strength. And this had something of a side effect of turning quite a few of them green, hence the name, you know? Ah, those were the days. Although the game didn't age so well, but it sunsetted at some point. I'm rather sad that it doesn't exist anymore. But it doesn't matter. I prefer this one anyway. Welcome back, Lalukumo. I just heard your report. You needn't be concerned about the engineers. They completed their return trip without further Imperial interference. I must admit, I had my doubts at first, but it seems the stories about you are true. I look forward to seeing what else you're capable of, after you're properly inducted into the Maelstrom, of course. Now, speaking of your induction... ain't that nice of them. Not really much we need, so let's just take the pieces. Till C swallows all, the personnel officer stands ready to complete her induction to the ranks. Let us start afresh, shall we? You are welcome here, Kukumo Lalakumo. That such a well-respected adventurer would choose to join our ranks is most heartening. Before you swear your allegiance to us, however, it is only right that I tell you exactly what it is that you will be joining. A Grand Company is more than simply a collection of soldiers. It is an all-encompassing organization which draws upon the resources of an entire city-state to form a united military force capable of standing against the nation's deadliest enemies. We of the Maelstrom are charged with meeting the threats posed by the Primals and the Garlean Empire, and solving the many problems caused by the Calamity. Every man and woman who serves under our colors has a role to play in keeping the great warship that is Limsalominsa afloat, and on whatever heading Chief Admiral Merlwyb Blowfiswin sees fit to set. Blowfiswin, that's right. Anyway, as part of this grand vessel crew, you will be expected to take turn at the oars, for the winds do not look favorable, lad, and strength of arms may well be all that will see us safe to port. If I've lost you with talk of ship and oar, let me put it another way. A Maelstrom soldier labors till his last breath, fight till his last drop of blood. We give our all in service to this nation, and no less is expected of you. Lalakumo, it is customary for new recruits to swear an oath of their own, choosing upon entering the Maelstrom's rank. Is there aught you'd like to say? You have my sword till sea swallows all. That sounds better than the other ones. They seem rather half-hearted. And I've no doubt we'll need it. Keep your weapons close at hand, lad. Kukubo Lalakumo, I hereby assign you the rank of Storm Private 3rd Class. You are now officially a soldier of the Maelstrom. Welcome aboard, Private. May you serve Limsa well, till sea swallows all. This is kind of the saying of Limsa, be that as it may. Till sea swallows all. Yeah. It's apparently part of a legend where supposedly the sea would actually overtake the land completely. Probably an old Rogadin thing. Minfilia. Can you hear me, Kukumo? This is Minfilia. It's starting. An officer of the Maelstrom contacted me with news of your enlistment. My congratulations, Private Lalakumo. I have no doubt that you are eager to make the acquaintance of your new comrades, but I would ask that you pay a visit to your old ones first. Remember, though you are now a man of the storm, you are no less a scion. Pray return to the Waking Sands at your earliest convenience. There are some friends here that I would very much like you to meet. We shall be waiting. Ain't that nice? Storm Private, 3rd Class. Delivery missions unlocked. So there are quite a few things you can do for your Grand Company. Among others, you can have a look at Promotions rank, which will allow you to rise through the ranks of the Maelstrom proper. For instance, in order to get to Storm Private 2nd Class, I need to pay 200 seals, which are the, how can I say, currency for the various Grand Companies. They are earned, among others, by doing private quests, public quests, or fates as they are known, doing dungeons within the roulette, or simply, you know, killing stuff for their hunting logs. So you can also do delivery missions for them called supply and provisioning missions. If you are a crafter or gatherer, you'll have a bunch of items here that you can turn in for seals. The higher the quality in this case, the more seals you receive, and those are daily, so keep that in mind. Supply is for crafting, provisioning is of course for gathering, and there is also expert delivery here, which will basically be whenever you get a green level item or higher, you can turn them in for seals if you don't need them. So if for instance I'm, I don't know, a gladiator, and for instance I get conjurer's gear, which I don't plan on leveling anytime soon, well, I can turn them in for seals. And what are those seals used to? Well, that's where the Storm Quartermaster comes in. Because based on your various ranks, amongst others, here I'm a Storm Private 3rd Class, which can go all the way to Storm Captain, up until now that is. You get access to a number of rewards. Among others, we've got special weapons, as well as set of armors that are similar to what you'll see the soldiers here wield. Among others, you can see that suit similar to what they have right now, which I can also acquire. These are different for the various Grand Companies, although rather similar. Can also get access to a few things here, among others, I don't know. There are the company issue survival manuals, which will increase experience for your gathering class. The Storm Chocobo issuance, which requires about 200 seals to buy. Actually, did they lower that? You might need a certain rank or something. I thought it was higher. It usually took quite a lot of seals to actually get those. Oh well. As well as a few other things. You can also see quite a lot of other interesting here. For instance, we've got the Bardings here, which you can buy for a higher number of things. You can also get a bunch of knickknacks for your home, because yes, there is player housing in this. There are also a number of other things that I'm looking right now. Among others, I don't know, there's a pet here with a Storm Hatchling. We've got a few dancers here. Etherite tickets, like the ones I've got. Squadron Enlistment Manual, which is for another feature that we've got. And things like Titanium Alloy Mirror, which is used for relic weapons. In this case, those from, what's the name? Heavensward, that's right. Okay, that is done. Usually they would ask us to go back to Minfilia, but we'll go to Camp Drybone to actually try to get to Halatali. We are a little behind on the time I had given myself, but meh, who cares? Halatali won't take long. So here we are in Camp Drybones. Let's be on our way. I'll try to get my chocobo before Wednesday stream, but I'm not sure I'll have time to do everything, which is unfortunate. Going the other way might have been better, but yeah, that's where the quest NPC is for unlocking the dungeon proper. They still have a habit of sending you to the entrance of said dungeon. A little annoying. I'm pretty sure that in the future they actually don't really do that anymore, if I'm not mistaken. I recall a few times, if I recall, where you didn't actually see the entrance of the dungeon proper, it just got sent somewhere. Among others, I'm thinking Hullbreaker Isle, among others. But again, supposed to be... Deserted Island, I suppose, would be the proper term. But be that as it may, a place that isn't visited very often as it is. And here we are, the gates of Halatali, the training ground for gladiators, or at least what it used to be. But now it is infested by beasts, the horror. There's Fafajoni, Flame Private. If it is the Hall of Halatali you seek, you need seek no further. Permit me to tell you something of this place. The name comes from an ancient tongue, Halatali meaning the land of many shadows. It was here that our distant ancestors first settled, and... Ah, you have not come all this way for a lesson of history. Shh, listen. Do you not hear the howls and growls? Do you not feel how they shake the very earth beneath you? These sounds are the work of no wind, my friend, nor that rumbling the doing of any shadows. Those are the calls of Halatali, for now the beasts once kept for the Colosseum lurk here. And these are no gentle beasts broken by the hand of man. No, there are those within that even the might of the immortal flames cannot tame. From the looks of you, you must be Kukumo. I received word from Nedrick that you might be along. By his recommendation, I grant you leave to enter freely. Only pray you are able to find your way out. You and me both, dude. But that is done, and we can now queue up. This should be quick, but in the meantime, we'll get Record Keeper going. If you'll give me a second... Okay, that should be nearly right. Let me just adjust this. That'll be better. Okay, so right now I've been mostly working. I've just finished farming Tiamat, which is a 4-star Magicite, so we'll see what I can do about that. I've got my ice party already here, which is surprising because it took me a while to actually figure out the setup for this. But with me having gotten Ice Magicite from Isgebine, well, that's actually useful. Isgebine, which is actually a boss in this particular game that we'll get to see later on. But not quite yet. We are only missing a healer right now, so it shouldn't take too long. Here we are, that's Tiamat. Or at least the version from... I'm not mistaken, Final Fantasy IX. So, Aced with Onion Knight, Shelga with Elara, get Rinoa to put up our shield, Entro Fusion from Serra, and wait a little so Squall will be able to benefit it with his Snowbell Strike. It's too bad that we probably won't have time to say it, but I've actually got a great story about Stormspell Strike and Squall, but that's another story entirely. Not very relevant to Final Fantasy XIV, unfortunately. But never mind that. But really, the powerhouses in this team are pretty much Squall and Onion Knight. They're the ones that gonna make me go somewhere. So I've got my chain from Serra up. And Squall is gonna do his thing while Elara puts up her Magica album to help us with her regen on everybody. And a fairly high one at that. I'm still impressed by the kind of work she puts in. Absorb strength, which doesn't matter because I haven't buffed my strength yet. Rinoa is mostly here to buff my chain, really. Oh, I forgot that was Protect God I was supposed to use. Oh well. But as you can see, Onion Knight, now that he's on the chain, is making quite a bit of effort. Might have been better to wait a little for Alara. I think she's gonna be too quick before he actually uses his Flame Jet. Unfortunate. But no matter. The nice thing is that I have the record materia for Squall, which actually allows him to already start infused with the power of ice. Really good stuff for me. Anywho. Okay, there's Sarah. We are at 135% of damage. But unfortunately, it seems our Q popped in. Give me a sec. There we are. Let's go. But you've seen a little. I might finish it once we are done. Lovely. As per usual, we'll have a look at the cutscene once we are done. Really, there's not a lot to see about Halatali, really. It's a fairly standard dungeon. Hello! Okay, go ahead. Buff me up. Let's go. Alright, time to see if I'm in great form, which I'm probably not. We've got 2 Black Mage, so that's actually a good time to use AoEs here. Alright. Whoops, I lost one. But yeah, that's gonna be a lot of work. With 2 Thaumaturges. But maybe at least they'll like me. It allows them to really strut their stuff. Oh. Gas bomb. Get over here, you. Alright. So which way was it? That way, I think. Healer seems to be holding up well, so that's not really a problem. Hey you, get here. Guy in the party is complaining that Black Mage is so burning at early level. Here, nothing really special to see, really. You just need to deal with those Doctores who've got a frontal cone, whereas those bombs can actually blow up. Alright. A bomb? That's right, a bomb. Alright, you. Get here. Hey you, get back. Can be tough at times to tank as a gladiator. I still miss my warrior, really. But never mind that. Our first boss. Quite a simple one, too. Alright. They seem to be ready, so let's attack this fire main thing. So this is basically a fire elemental. Nothing really special about it, to be honest. Basically, you'll have these gates around the fighting arena that are gonna open at some point throughout the fight. And these will send out smaller flames, which will try to get to this particular bonfire here. If they get to the bonfire, well, stuff are gonna blow up. Although sometimes people just, you know, ignore them entirely. As might be the case in this, as I can't imagine the black mages being too keen on dealing with those. Although they can do so with scat if they so desire. Looks like the healer is feeling generous. How nice of him. Oops, kinda lost him there. Sorry, dude. That's what happened when I spam my damage combo too much. But yeah, as you can see, the healers got this under control. So nothing to really worry about. And once that is done, you just go through that teleporter here. And don't forget to open the chest, which I totally forgot. Meh. But anywho. So yep, loot. Not much for me to use, but I might be able to turn it into the Grand Company. Alright, everybody seems ready. Okay, let's do this. Alright, that should be everything. Watch out for that snake if you're a healer in particular, as these will actually inflict you with poison. Somebody opened the cinch, which was a bad idea. Could have been 3 mobs at once, which would have been a problem. Or rather, lightning elementals, such as they are known. But yeah, here if you can Asuna the poison from the tank, that can actually be rather helpful. But another gas bomb, unfortunately. Hey you! Don't go too far ahead. Come on you guys, you can do it! Alright, get here you. Going further would have been dangerous, and rather reckless at that. So I preferred to be safe. The funny thing is that with the new system, when you become a captain of your particular Grand Company, you can actually do these particular dungeons with NPCs, basically, which is a new system that is also gonna be pioneered in Shadowbringers, the next expansion. So we've got quite a lot to look forward, really. Oh no. This could be bad. Well, I hope they're confident in their AoE, because I'm not confident at my skill to keep all of those under control. Guy probably figured that I wasn't gonna go for the big pull. Well, I proved him wrong now, didn't I? Oh no. Well, at least I've managed to keep this under control. Props to the heal for making it through this. Thank you, dear. I'm seeing things in chat. Basically, the healer said he was about one mob away from not being able to heal through it. He also noticed that somebody else actually did, that he noticed that he said lol at the beginning and the end of his sentence, and that it was embarrassing. I totally agree. While I know quite a few of you people might actually do that, well... Oh. Might actually say lol textually, which is lots of laugh for those that aren't in the know. But yeah, I feel like this is something that shouldn't be done. If you want to laugh, you know, make laughing noises. But anyways, that's just me being a grumpy old man, you know. Okay. Second boss, and a special one too. That's actually a mechanic we haven't seen for quite a while. So this guy, at some point throughout this, he will actually turn the floor into electricity. So we actually want to be out of the water when that happens. Alright, hon. Alright, if I must. And that's when he's gonna do that. So my job will be basically to get those guys over here. If I can, that is. Hey, you. Black Mages seems to be doing good, though. Ouchies. Alright, dear, get back here. So yep, Thunderclap Grieved. You'll notice this as being the mount for the Amalja Beast Tribe quest. For those in the know. I've also shown it with rain a few times. Having trouble with my tab targeting. I don't know if it shows, but it's been quite a while since I've actually tanked anything. Those last 3 dungeons were actually the first time in this since I came back for the Stormblood expansion, so... Still, I suppose I'm doing okay. So same thing, follow the ethereal flow for the teleport. And we've got only one boss left. Not a particularly hard one either. Greed. Greed. Okay, that's everybody. We should be fine. Alright, you. Alright, you. Get over here. Oh well. If he's not gonna attack, then I'm not gonna bother with it. Hey, you. Black Mages did too much damage, so I kinda lost control of that one. But yeah, there's actually quite a bit that you can skip in that particular section. I was just making sure that people weren't attracting roaming mobs. A reasonable thing to be wary of. And here we are. We've got our boss. Tangata. That's a weird name. Anywho, countdown. Alright, you. So the gimmick of this guy is pretty much what you're seeing right now. Basically, at some points during the fight, he's gonna go invulnerable. And may leave that puddle there. So during that period, you'll actually need to deal with the various mobs that show up around here. Among others, that thing that I've actually haven't managed to deal with. Don't really bother tanking them as well. Oh, boss is back. Sorry, Hans. Would probably be a good idea to move him in the center. Because otherwise he's gonna get too close to the flames, and that's bad. There's one here. Alright. Let's get him back here then. Hey, you. Going back to the center for whatever reason. And now he's gonna keep fighting instead of just becoming invulnerable. So that's actually a good time for a limit break. If they remember to do it, that is. Or they'll be doing mechanics, that works too. And he's done. Bye-bye. Commendation for the healer, he did a bang-up job there. As for this, well, I don't need Marauder's arms. And done! With one commendation. Healer probably soaked the rest of them. Or Black Mages might have actually commended themselves. But with that being as it is, our quest is complete, which means that we can actually return to Ul'dah and actually have a look at those cutscenes, eh? Oh, that's right. Need to watch my zoom. Try to make things visible for you guys, such as it is. Maybe a foe hammer, eh? Foe hammer was a special weapon, if I recall, within Baldur's Gate 2, but it might actually be a reference to a particular character from the Forgotten Realms as well, which I'm forgetting right now. But that's beside this point. It's also a class in Pathfinder, if I recall. Never mind that. So anyway, that's Halatali. That's where we were. Fancy, eh? And you know the nice thing about that? All of those dungeons we've done up until now actually have a hard version that exists at level 50. Which also have completely different layouts, completely different bosses, and completely different everything, really. So that's interesting. There's our boss man for the thumbnail. Unless I decide to take somebody from the Grand Companies. Here's Tangata! Not leaving me much to work with there. Duty complete! Aha! And that's it for that, and that's it for the stream tonight. However, before we finish, I'm gonna finish that fight with Tiamat. So let me just switch over back to Record Keeper and hope that they still remember my things and that I actually remember why I am. Did I already put up my Magicite? Oh, I just summoned it just now. This Magicite can be earned by defeating other bosses, for instance that one I got from Isgabine, which is the Dullahan from Final Fantasy VI. It's supposed to be a headless horseman, so that's actually rather strange. So anyway, Onion Knight is going to do Volt Tech. Elora is going to heal as needed. Sudden Trees for Sarah. Squall. I've still got time. Besides, he's not buffed up anyway. Chain Blizzaga for Rinoa. I'm kind of disappointed. I would have hoped that Rinoa would have done more damage on this fight, but really the MVP is really Squall. You'll see that once we get towards the end of the chain. He's insane. Well, actually, it's just the overstrike and the overlap of buff that is insane. Sword Strength. Well, it doesn't matter anyway, since Onion Knight is gonna buff. Northern Cross, which also buffs my chain. Sometimes he uses Morning Star, which isn't that great. But anywho... Savage Jetfire, just in time for me to use Elara's Healing Soul Break. There we've got our Strength buff with Squall, which isn't ideal for my party, as the only one that actually uses those is Squall. So I'm having him do his Overstrike move. And Sub-Zero Blast. See that? 5 digits, all 9s. That's about the highest amount of damage that you can get in this. Although some bosses might be able to get some higher, but you know. The intent was sincere. So anyway, Entro Fusion from Sarah. Now that Onion Knight is done. And Rinoa will be ready to restart the chain. Well, such as it is. The number of hits on the chain as it is. Another Northern Cross. Lucky. Angel Wing Vortex. Snow Spell Strike. What Angel Wing Vortex does basically for Rinoa is that it adds a hit for her Black Magic skill, as well as infuse her with the power of Ice. Which is what Squall already has. Whether or not I'm going to be able to do another Sub-Zero Blast with Squall before his buff runs out is another question entirely. Somehow I doubt I'm going to make a better time than usual, although it's been going well. But yeah, Onion Knight is wiping the floor with him. And Savage Twister. That thing just keeps spamming those things. I got it to about 50 seconds, and let me tell you, the amount of damage I was taking was pretty insane. Anywho. Just short. If you survive Savage Twister, that would work. Yes. That works, that's the end of it. Did Elora actually have her Soul Break ready? Perhaps not. I wouldn't think so, but that's actually the thing I spend the most time on lately. I don't play Final Fantasy XIV nearly as much as I should, despite the fact that I've got Eureka to do. But with the lull between expansions, that's to be expected a little. 97k, that's not bad. Could have been better, but yeah, 26 seconds. A very respectable time. And sub 30 to boot. So yeah, that's my strat for Tiamat. You'll actually see it back on YouTube a second time when I do all of the various 4-star Magisets. However, I still need to deal with the Lightning Magiset as well as farm a couple of them. But anywho, I would have gotten a few Tiamat Magiset, cool. And got quite a few Arcanas, which I haven't really spent, which make me feel like an idiot because I feel like I'm not really gonna get very far with 5-star Magisets. But anyway, that's besides the point. So yeah, I'm afraid that's gonna be it for the time being. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you like what you're seeing, maybe follow the stream. Maybe leave a comment if you're on YouTube. And that was the Great Pumpkin. You all have a pleasant time now. Bye-bye.